Alright, hey everyone, my name is Dan, and in this tutorial I'll be going over how to write, compile, and run a simple Hello World app in Java. Okay, to start I got my IDE open. I'm using JGrasp. It's pretty basic. It has all the basic features of an IDE. So you're on your left side, you got your navigation pane. Down below you have your console window that's going to display or print whatever your program outputs, whether that's like words or numbers or whatever. And in this main area that's black right now is where the text editing is going to happen. And it's black right now because I haven't opened or created a new file yet. So let's go ahead and do that. You can do that with File, New Java, or you could just press Control N. You'll get this prompt. You can pick your language. So I'll say Java, and now it's white. So this is where all the typing goes, right? So I'm going to zoom it in so you guys can see a little bit better. Okay. So to begin, I'm going to first create a class, and then I'll explain after. So public class hello world, open and close brace. Okay. So what do we have going on here? So first word, public. This is the spot for the access modifier. This is one of four options you have for the access modifier. And what the access modifier does, without going into too much detail, it pretty much just controls where or from where you can access this class. And public just means you can access it from anywhere. I have Oracle's documentation open, and it shows you the access modifier options here. You could either write public, protected, no modifier, meaning leaving it blank, or you could write private. But for right now, it's okay. Just, I guess, memorize it the way it is, and I'll explain later in a future video. The second word just signals that a class name is about to come. So here's class, and then right after that is the name of the class. And I've named it Hello World. And notice that the first letter is capitalized. So in Java, it's case sensitive, so it makes a difference whether or not, a lot of times, whether or not it's uppercase or lowercase. And for classes, it must start with an uppercase, and it cannot start with a number. But I could put a number here like 9 and it would be fine. But I'm just going to call it Hello World. And then you have your open and close brace. And like most programming languages, what happens in the class, or the scope of the class, is between those braces. So on line 2. So let's go ahead and save this. I'll do Control S and save. This pane comes up and I'll press save. And here in my navigation window, notice a new file was created, and the file name Hello World is exactly the same as my class name, case and all, and that is always going to be the case. So a good way to think about classes, at least in the beginning, is that it's just the file, right? The file where you'll be writing all of your code. Okay, next I'm going to write the main method. So public static void main string args open and close brace. Get rid of that extra space. Okay, so here is a method, and it's a very special type of method called the main method. And what the main method does, what's different than why it's different than any other method, is that when you have an application could be either one class or it could be a group of classes. But there can only be one main method for your application. And the main method, it pretty much signals to the computer that this is where your application starts. So when you run it, start from the main method. It'll look through all of your classes and look for the class that has a main method, and like most programming languages, it'll read starting from the main method, top to bottom, left to right, and start executing all of your code. And here, let me explain what this is. So what I've highlighted here is the Method signature. Now I'll have another video later on about method signatures and how they differ and give you examples. But the main method is very specific. It's pretty much going to look exactly like this every time, so it's beneficial for you to just memorize it the way it is. But let me just explain what each position in the method signature means. Okay, so the first word is also an access modifier. We already talked about that. The second word, static, it could either be static or you could have nothing there. But again, the main method, it just has to be static. And I'll go into that later on in another video. The third word is the return type. Now in Java, like other programming languages, there are things, I guess. I don't want to call them objects or numbers because there's just a variety of things that you can work with, right? Integers, strings, which are just like words or individual characters. In this position here, you're going to write the type that your method is going to return. And here it's just, for the main method, it's just void. And void means it's going to return nothing. So the fourth word is the name of the method itself. This is the main method. So obviously it's written, we just write main. And then now in the parentheses here, this space, whatever's written here, we call the parameter of the method. Now the parameter consists of two components. The first component is the type. And the second component is the name of the variable. So here, it's a string array, that's the type, and the name of that string array is args. Again, this is all very specific for the main method, so just memorize it the way it is. Alright, so let's finally do some coding. So the first, I guess, function that I'll show you is system.out.print. Okay, and semicolon to end. Now this, whenever it ends in a semicolon, is generally called a statement. So what is this going to do? This is going to print out to this console window whatever I put in between these parentheses. And in between these parentheses, I want to, for this demonstration, output a string. String is just, I mean, I want to say it's a word, but that's an oversimplification. I mean, it could be numbers too. Like I could put numbers here and I'll print out numbers. I could put in a word, which I will do. Hello world. So let's try compiling this. So I'm going to hit this compile button up here, or you can press Control B. And look what happens when I compile. See, I got some output out here, but it's not actually the output. It's just saying that it finished compiling, right? And what happened? If you look in the navigation window, you'll see a new file was created, a .class, so hello world.class. So what's going on is that, again, our Java file is where we write our code that humans can read and write, right? And then the Java compiler will take this human written code and transform it into what we call bytecode, and that's what's contained in this class file. Now if I go to my folder, let's see, let me navigate to it real quick. So I have it saved in here, tutorials, Java. Okay, here. So got my Java file, my class file. I'm gonna open this in my notepad. Now, see how it's like incomprehensible? This is all bytecode. Like we don't get it, but Java, the compiler, right, pretty much turns it into this bytecode, but it's not really ready to be machine read yet. What happens is the JVM, which is the Java Virtual Machine, will take this bytecode and interpret it into machine code that your computer can understand. So that's kind of what's going on under the hood. So let's go back here. And let's try running it. So when we press run, which is this little button here with the running man, or you can press Control R, it's going to run that bytecode. And let's try it. So now in our output, we see hello world, which is what we typed right between these quotes. I'm going to show you one more system out print, and this time instead of system out print, I'm going to do system out print ln, and that stands for line, so print line. And what is the difference? Actually, maybe I'll write it. Actually, wait. I'm going to first show you what it looks like without the print line, and then it'll make more sense. So what if I wrote here another print statement, like I am really hungry right now. Okay, let's try running this, see what happens. Okay, see in the console window we have hello world and then no space, and it goes right into the second print statement. I'm really hungry right now. But I don't want it to do that. I want it to go down to the next line and write this second statement. So what we can do, I'll put print line on the first print statement. So what it's gonna do is it's gonna print now hello world, and because it's print line, it knows to press enter, so to speak, right? Go to the next line and then regular print out this next statement. So let's run this. And there it is, hello world, and I'm really hungry right now. Okay, so before I end this tutorial, I wanted to show you guys one more thing. So we've been running this program from the IDE. I wanted to show you, for those that like to work in the terminal or command prompt, how you could run this program from the command prompt. Okay, so I've already kind of navigated to where my folder is. As you can see here, this address corresponds to where this folder location is. And in here I'll show you by pressing directory or dir. And as you can see in this Java folder, I have two files. I have the Hello World class and the Hello World Java. Now I want to actually show you how to compile as well from the command prompt. So let's delete this class file. Now all I have is the Java file, so go to command prompt and type in directory again. And now that class file is gone and it's just the Java file. Okay, so how to compile from the command prompt. So we can type in Java, C is the command, and the C obviously stands for compiler, space, and hello, and I'll just tab so it auto finishes, and you want to compile the Java file. So we'll press enter, and it looks like it did nothing, but it compiled, and as you see in the full folder, like the window back here, the class file was created. And here you can confirm again using directory that the class file is indeed there. And now if you want to run it from the command window, here I'll blow this up so it's easier to see. And say, now we just write Java, not Java C, and then the name hello autofill, but not .class, just hello world, and it'll know to run the class file. So press enter, and there's our program. Hello world, I'm really hungry right now. Alright, hopefully this tutorial was helpful. And if it isn't, let me know in the comments below. Yeah, so till my next tutorial video, I'll catch you guys later.